Gamers, Sam Fisher is back. I promise. That's him. He looks different and he sounds different and he doesn't really do the stuff he used to, but he's back. Welcome to Watch Later with Leo Vader, an essay series about the overlooked nuggets in gaming that I can't stop thinking about. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell is a series of award-winning stealth shooter games, the first of which was released in 2002 and their tie-in novels. The protagonist, Sam Fisher, is a highly trained agent of a... Oh, crap. That's embarrassing. Basically, the games were really good. Fair, grounded stealth with clever gadgets and an iconic performance by Michael Ironside. Chaos Theory is probably the standout classic of the series, but the most recent entry, 2013's Splinter Cell Blacklist, is my personal favorite, and I still go back to it at least once a year. But Blacklist caught a lot of hate for replacing Ironside with the perfectly fine Eric Johnson as Sam Fisher. Publisher Ubisoft claimed at the time they needed a younger actor capable of doing the motion capture and performance. And I think what we learned then is that if you strip away Michael Ironside's signature gravelly performance, you lose so much of what makes him iconic. You're just left with kind of a white guy who crouches? So fans were furious. But years later, it turned out Ironside declined to be part of the project because he had 4 types of cancer and thought he was going to die. And Ubisoft was actually being incredibly kind to respect Ironside's wishes for privacy, even in the face of thousands of screaming fans. Of course, after we found that out, Ubisoft was overwhelmed with handwritten "We're sorry" cards from the gaming community, as it was clear that what Ubi did was the only moral choice, and gamers everywhere learned a valuable lesson about judging before knowing the full situation. Wait, hold on. Oh, never mind. In the years since Blacklist, Sam Fisher has only appeared in crossovers with Ghost Recon Wildlands and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, with a miraculously recovered Michael Ironside returning to perform in both. I tried for a bit to get into Breakpoint, just so I could put on the unlockable Sam Fisher outfit, squint, and pretend the crossovers were a new game in the Splinter Cell series. Ghost Recon, after all, also has stealth and shooting, which, wow! What are the odds? But it really isn't as tight and satisfying to me as Blacklist was, having made a lot of concessions for the sake of being open world and co-op and frankly just more of a shooter. But now Sam is being added as an attacker in Rainbow Six Siege, a game that I already loved before he was in it. In the upcoming Operation Shadow Legacy, you'll be able to play as 63-year-old Sam Fisher. Once again, not voiced by Michael Ironside, probably because he's 70 now, please just leave him alone. In classic Siege style, he's going by the one-word alias Zero, a name picked for reasons unclear to me. Maybe it's because there's been 0 actual Splinter Cell games since 2013 and I have 0 will to live? I would have called him Crouch. Or Sham Fisher, sorry. Him being 63 is honestly a pretty good excuse to have his mobility be as limited as the rest of the operators, rather than climbing and ziplining around on everyone's asses. In Siege, he plays like any other character, much more merc than spy. But he holds his pistol at an angle, and when he performs a melee attack, he uses his iconic banana knife. But a Siege operator is only as good as their gadget. That's not true at all. And his is pretty damn powerful. Sam uses the Argus launcher, named after his dog Argus, who I made up. It shoots cameras that embed in walls, letting you see through either side and shoot one laser blast to destroy a gadget or oh so slightly damage a player. A nice touch is that the gadget's targeting laser is the 3 dots that you associate with those iconic Splinter Cell goggles. And when the gadget hits a wall, it makes the sound that those goggles used to make when they turned on. So overall, it's not the most hyper-accurate Splinter Cell-y thing they ever could have done, but it's a nice gesture that tickles my lizard brain. Am I using that right? But is it enough? Will this new operator finally scratch my Splinter Cell itch, which my doctor insists is athlete's foot? His gadget design is honestly a pretty good melding of a few iconic Splinter Cell gadgets. It's got elements of the classic Splinter Cell sticky camera, the main elements being its sticky and a camera. In the old games, it would let you do things like attract enemies, detonate in a flash, or release gas. But here, it just attracts them by making that loud goggle noise as it burrows into the wall. The laser blast the gadget shoots is reminiscent of the shockers you could shoot out of the Tri-Rotor drone in Blacklist, though those were one-hit KOs. So Ubisoft, please obliterate Siege's competitiveness by making these shots one-hit KOs for us, the fans, who called you worthless scumbags because you wouldn't tell us that Michael Ironside was dying. Zero's secondary gadgets are straight out of Splinter Cell, with a claymore equivalent to the proximity mine, and the frag grenade equivalent to the, you guessed it, his dog Argus. Ah, dang, that was just the joke from earlier. One feature I loved in Conviction and Blacklist was Mark and Execute, where you would mark one or several enemies and then press a button to go into a cinematic instant takedown animation. It was a really badass mechanic to have, whether as a tactical tool in your arsenal or as a backup to quickly deploy in a panic when caught out in the open. It felt cool. Siege also has marking as well as executing. So can I pull this trick off as Sam Fisher and make this a true Splinter Cell experience? Somewhat. I can shoot the camera onto a surface they won't expect, mark them as they pass in front of a soft surface, and lay into the mark. It's not quite as cinematic, but it's equally satisfying. Siege is a tactical shooter with sprawling maps and one life rounds, so you benefit a lot from taking it slow and playing it stealthy as anyone. This means sneaking around as Sam Fisher feels supernatural in this game, especially in the context of infiltrating an objective. I do wonder how he would have felt as one of the defenders, though, who have an easier time remaining quiet and dropping on unsuspecting enemies. Might have been even more in keeping with the Splinter Cell vibe. But then again, if you want a Sam Fisher defender, Caveira is literally what that would be. Her signature sneaky shoe ability has made her a fun outlet for my dire need for stealth long before Zero got here. So is Sam Fisher in Rainbow Six Siege enough like playing a new Splinter Cell to satisfy me? Hold on tight, prepare yourself. Are you ready? Okay, here goes. No. Sam Fisher, as we know him, is probably gone. I was optimistic when he had his first cameo in Wildlands, but now 3 cameos later, if you include Tom Clancy's Elite Squad, and I'm pretty sure that's about all we're getting out of him. But I will remain hopeful that Splinter Cell will someday come back in a fun, modern way, because like I said, Blacklist still holds the hell up as a great action stealth game. Tight controls, great environments, gorgeous on PC, and some of the best co-op gameplay ever, period. He's fun, and his gadget is super compelling, but I would describe this Siege update as a retirement home for Sam. He's gonna move a little slower, and he might not be exactly the Sam Fisher you remember, but he's comfortable. He's always gonna be here, and you can visit him whenever you want. Why don't you visit him more? Hey, thanks for watching Watch Later with Leo Vader. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell's Sam Fisher is in Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege's test server on PC right now and coming to the real game in just a few weeks. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and support us on Patreon, where you can hang out on stream while I make these videos. This time, the chat is who suggested putting the Splinter Cell goggle noise in every 3 seconds, so you have them to thank for that. Come hang out. Bye!